are now live. If you go to YouTube, you'll find us there. Waiting.
So what's the name of the YouTube?
I call it Dr. Grobler.
You can write the title if you are going online.
Then Professor Grobler. And then we can also put the banner here.
Guys.
It's Friday afternoon. My boss has put the program into the store. But in the power investors can we please just within your group have a quick feedback on what stood out in your group? Number one. Number two, that you commit to submit the activities from your group to Kathy by not later than next week Friday. So each of the 30 groups must assign one person that will take responsibility to submit.
Okay, fine. Can I have your email address so I'll see all of you?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's fine. Right. Email address, then I'll see.
You have one of you have also an idea as to which other drivers resonate.
No, I'm done. Write your email
Where
address
you
here.
might have got a contribution to make in terms of the assigned activities. Please also feel free to, on an individual basis, to submit. All right. So out here, we've got 13 outcomes. Drivers, so 15 drivers, 15 tables. Each table was assigned a driver to determine the activities that we as a faculty will commit ourselves to next year. We want a submission from each table by next week Friday, together with individual contributions from other drivers other than the one that you had an opportunity to engage with. Then we will collate and then we will circulate the final operation for your input. Alright? Because once we finalize it, that becomes our commitment for 2025, number one. It's going to inform our budgeting process because every cent that we ask for needs to be aligned to this operational plan. So together with our budget, we submit the operational plans. All right. So if we can start to have that, any spokesperson, you just give us a quick feedback as to what stood out for you today.
We give a quick feedback on what stood out of this. So I think you mentioned the ones that we super.
I will type this here. Yeah, then I'll type this one and send to Kathy. I will type this and send to Kathy.
But now she just wants a quick one.
Yeah, he will do the summary.
He said he will do the summary.
Then the typing, I'll do the typing.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
You want to try and make specialized certifications in the health and the booking certification programs that align with industry demands and create partnerships with those companies. And the ministry will try and have online and enhanced courses for those that cannot travel to beauty and offer them online. And we want to try and maybe establish mobile labs to offer basic laboratory skills and maybe to teach people on basics such as practice and housekeeping and all that. And maybe the last one have a career expo with beauty nationally and internationally, and also help people to come and apply because we have high volume moments every day.
So if I can summarize, you looked at short learning programs in a relationship with industry to address their needs, and then also look at online as a possible mode of delivery to have, and then also to continue Andrew's work with the schools with the application to enhance. Thank you very much.
We had number 15. 15 is professionalization of training solutions, research solutions, and advisory services. So I hope we were on the right track. We did come up with a couple of ideas. We were looking at also finding out from industry what their requirements were for training, and some of the other highlights were to offer a business incubator, for example. We have skills within our faculty, but if there's small businesses out there that need specialized lab services, we could offer that. Obviously, we would need to have staff that are trained and qualified to offer business skills or whatever people need. We have specialists also that are familiar with occupational health and safety. So there's a company that's starting out somewhere out there that needs help with accreditation or simple lab safety courses, that sort of thing. And obviously we can offer that as well. As far as research solutions, again, a lot of us have our specialties, whether it's in molecular biology or microbiology or whatever it is. If some company out there needs some service, then we can carry out our lab. That's the idea as well. That's a few of the ideas we came up with.
Okay, thank you. So again, to take what we have internally, to put it out there, I think we had a discussion of it and I think what we also need to do, Amanda and I started last year, I'm not happy with our faculty website. And it's just something that slipped through the cracks that as Lolita and I talked, we even need to put a gallery onto where we put photos of today. And also I'm thinking of your idea. To put on the web page, this is our skills, this is the service we can offer, so that it can also become a marketing tool. Because if someone search molecular biology specialist or molecular biology, we won't pop up in the search. So to start to market ourselves also on our webpage. Thank you for that. And I think what you came up with is very much in line. I know it's really and I didn't even, it's too much ice cream. I'm starting to talk in Afrikaans. What it's more or less in line with your proposal with our centralized lab concept. But now we need to add on to that, and that is the analytical part. Are you ready?
Ours is number 12, leadership, compliance, and accountability governed by the ESG sensitive framework. So we have considered this into three subheadings where we have leadership, we have accountability, and then we have compliance. You can correct us if we are wrong, but what we did here was sort of giving some recommendations of what can be done, or maybe they are already in place, but we are not aware of those arrangements. So the first thing was we looked at the leadership to say as faculty members or as staff members, we need support from the management who are our leaders. It can be our team, it can be our HODs to support the staff in terms of we were looking at finance especially to say sometimes no. I know when we need to go to conferences, we need to be supported in terms of research. The problem which we discussed here was that sometimes there's this bureaucracy and steps in between where we come to a situation where we can't access what we want in time. For example, if something, a paper has to be taken for a conference which is being held this month, but it takes 2 months to have the paperwork done. So if we
So what are you identifying now?
no, maybe it took 2 months before it was processed, but it was applied some time back. And it might not be even the problem of the faculty itself, but of the supporting department. So at least if we can have our leadership to maybe to streamline, to have the clear processes of how things should be done and assist us in that way. And then we have also, we don't know if in the FNC we do have members from the research, when I say research, for the Royal University, if we have someone who sits in the FNC and also someone from exams, such that maybe if marks are being presented, there is outstanding marks which were not done properly by the exams. If that somebody can answer to the FNC during your meetings, I think it will fast track rather than a lecturer going to find with the exams people to have marks captured. And also the accountability. Here we were, remember, still on leadership, accountability to say, also we need our leaders to be accountable for some of the duties which happen. It can be in the department, the faculty, or whatever. For example, let's say there is a member in a department who have been allocated to do some duties and to service the lecturers within that department, but the lecturers are not getting the good service. So it should be the HOD or the leaders, so I don't know who the HOD is, but the leaders should be accountable if that person is not delivering whatever she's supposed to deliver to the department members, because they will be relying on that member to do what he or she is supposed to do. And then lastly, we Googled and we saw something, a framework which can be actually designed, and we thought as a group, if we can have a framework which can be designed, which should also be aligned to the ESG, but to improve the existence of the practices in areas to like a check where they can report to see if progress has been done or whatever. So again, that's about the leadership and accountability. And from what is there already in terms of compliance and leadership, I think whatever is there, we are happy as that.
Thank you. We are looking forward to your framework. I think it's great. Colleagues, accountability. As much as we need to be collegial and supportive, we also need to hold each other accountable. And there's different ways. Performance management is one. I've started now, Kathy. We also need to get a feedback on today's session so that we can start to talk about the quality of our meetings. We might not understand what is the background of the meeting or the processes, why things happen the way it's happening, and at least that you start to give feedback and that you get noted. So that is very important. Now, I started when I started in the office. There was this big thing about we don't need service, we don't need support. So I've got an agreement. If you don't know about the agreement, I'm saying it now loud, and you need to tell everybody who's not here. I've got an agreement that you submit a document, procurement for example, you follow up at a reasonable time. If you follow up the third time, you CC me. And then I know I need to get on board. If you CC me, it means that you've tried the third time. This unfortunately, colleagues, we need to find our way in a dysfunctional system. And I say with all the respect. I do not accept, and colleagues who come to complain to me, I do not accept procurement as an excuse. I do not accept that. We have a situation now with Ambia, where they simply don't get any response from finance. They cannot finalize something that needs to be done because nobody's responding, nothing is happening. So they followed up, they kept paper trail, and then when they didn't get response, they asked me and I done it. And the advantage or the disadvantage, although I've been called to order because I've jumped certain offices, but at least I can CC the CFO. And the CFO immediately responded, and when he responded, the accountable persons responded. And it was a mere fact that we did not submit a document. But we didn't know we should submit. So just because we hadn't submitted that, you ignore us. And in the end, our stuff don't get finalized. So colleagues, please, to answer your question, we have to remember FTLMC, the Faculty Teaching Learning and Quality Committee, is where we approve all the marks. And Leslie sits on that committee. So he's there. But if you still have any challenges with any student admin, please report that to Amanda. She will guide you, she will bring it to FTLMC. So in terms of that, we don't have people from research, but we do have a research professor. So if you have any challenge in any research activity, then please report it to Proxima College. However, you must also be from reasonable with us. You cannot submit. There is a bureaucracy. There is approval that needs to take place. There is scheduled times. Amanda circulates all the submission dates and all the committee dates. The same for FRIC. That is circulated in the beginning of the year. So you know already when you should submit what. And if you don't submit, it might take 2 months. You might have just missed one submission because they sit every month, once a month. So it might just be that you missed one submission, and now you must speak. So it also requires planning in-house. And in terms of colleagues, I don't want us to adopt a culture of reporting each other. I think it's punitive and I think it's destructive. However, I can also feel that beauty is where we are because there's no accountability. So let us engage with each other's shortcomings on a collegial way, in a collegial manner, and in a constructive manner. So that if you report some challenges, that it's been done not punitively but constructively, and that we collectively hold each other accountable. I can say sorry, I didn't answer you in 24 hours. I'm really sorry. And I can apologize. But you know, this is our commitment towards each other, and this is where the excellence that we strive to. Very important. Rebecca, are you ready, please?
So we are assigned with driver number one, adequate, qualified, and innovative qualified. And we came up with one point. So basically, we're suggesting a customized or specialized training for the staff member in relation to what the person is teaching. Because sometimes maybe there's a training organized by the CAD and it's generalized. It's not like focusing exactly on what we need to do in terms of your work. We also spoke about exchange programs for staff in their line of teaching as well as learning, so that you can meet whether locally or internationally, so that we know what others are also doing in the same field that we are not doing, that we can incorporate in ours to enhance our learning and teaching. And then we also spoke about assisting staff members to achieve some of their personal development goals by attending skills development programs, registering for professional bodies like you said, and then we did discuss about the professional body, and sometimes my kind of funding challenges, we just realized that beauty actually pays for professional bodies. We need to know that. So if it can be also made available and certificates, again in line of the subjects that the specific staff member is teaching, or in line with the field of practice. And also we spoke about improved equipment and resources for students. This is a big challenge. Maybe for example in the laboratories we find we have less working, maybe for example a microscope.
I know it's an operational challenge. There's no excuse for that. And I think primarily the technician responsible. It is our responsibility as staff members to ensure that the equipment that we have in our labs is serviced. There is a budget. It comes to the end of the year, we haven't utilized our budget. And then it's the fault of the procurement. But we sit here in July and the requisition is not done. Colleagues, talking about accountability, talking about accountability, that will definitely be part of our performance management next year, is your infrastructure. How have you managed your infrastructure? Every technician that sits in this room is a laboratory manager. If your lab's health and safety is not up to standard, if your equipment is not serviced, you are not a good lab manager and you will be held accountable. So, and it's very true what that team said, is we cannot train equipped students, industry-aligned, well-trained students if we don't have equipment. There's one department, let me not say that department's name, that haven't purchased computers for their staff in 5 years. I consider that. So there's other departments that purchase laptops everywhere. So we either become victims of the system or we become managers of the system. Thank you.
Then we also do the online once we then centralize our laboratory management system where we have USA and HPLC, we have this big instruments. Some of them are also sitting and gathering dust where we could utilize them and analyze for people outside and actually monitorize that particular equipment. And then the last one that we spoke about is we should also engage with the industry so that we know what they are currently doing, that we align it with our teaching modules, so that we ensure that we are teaching employable graduates, not just bombarding them with what is in the old, and when they go out, they are not able to utilize what they will do in school.
Thank you.
That is like what.
Thank you. And if we have good equipment, state the art equipment, it also where to which we can expose our undergrad students that also enhance their teaching of their learning experience, as we want to keep them reserved for our use. Totally, any highlights from your side? You don't need to give a full report on your submission, just some highlights.
Our group had to address enabling efficient and agile systems and processes. So we came up with a number of suggestions that can be done to improve systems on our side and that of the student as well. So for us, we said we could use Teams more as a depository for the faculty, because there's a lot of information that we keep within ourselves that we deposit it there to fast-track information sharing. And where the students are concerned, we could use Butela more for general communication with the students over and above the email. So on that process, we said we could synergize a number of platforms that can be used to heighten information sharing. So that also spoke to the fact that we generate data that is channeled to management so that management can do analysis and take decisions swiftly. So we could heighten the feedback mechanism so that the data analytics and management can respond swiftly and we could have interventions, particularly on student performance. And our burning issue was the streamline of IT processes and systems, because we found that we sit in S4 and we do not know how many of our students are full S4, doing S4 and S2. So we have no idea of planning properly, particularly for things like the wheel placements and all those, because we do not have information that is automated and easily available to us to direct the information to the policy makers.
Did you look at possible actions to take to resolve that?
Yes, we did to provide IT solutions.
Are you aware of the Are you aware of the Kamuso program? It is a software, not or is it software, or is it just a tool? If you call it a tool, that now involved that is the purpose is to give us stats and to be able to identify at-risk students faster. The problem is the software tracks the information from ITS. So if you haven't captured your test 1 marks, you cannot identify, cannot analyze the data because it's not captured. So that I think CAD is in the process of trying, because that's not to mark at-risk students, but it is something, a tool that we really need. But just to keep in mind, if we want to, and it also is linked to Nutella. So if the assessment is done on Nutella, then it can, and attendance and those things, it can retrieve it from Nutella. But it's, let me rather say it's in a developmental state. It's a software that we purchased the license from another university, but it's not functional, 100% functional for the beauty scenario, so it's that can be adapted. This table, without being political, please. Yes.
We looked at, okay, we talked about leadership, compliance, and accountability, governed by and ESG sensitive framework. So we spoke about three concepts: leadership, compliance, and accountability. So leadership included our faculty sheet, right? We included she reps, we included OHS, and we include the university she space. Now, the importance of leadership in this is was to streamline the whole workings of occupational health. And at the moment, all these the divisions that I've mentioned are already operational. Now, when we talk compliance, in this case, we spoke about the issues of checklists, SOPs, safety meetings that are supposed to be held by the committees. And when we know we have got lots and lots of challenges on that, people are just negative about it, some don't care about it, the list goes on. Now, the last part of the accountability, the last point, accountability, more spoke about the institutional forum that involves occupational health, or that involves, that involves occupational health. And in there, it's more sort of a repository for what has happened in departments, faculties, and in general. And also, you get a view there where you sort of given a task to complete and you report thereafter if the task is completed or not. And also, when I finish up, when certain policies get to be reviewed in the same institutional forum portion. So generally, that's about it in our group for now.
Thank you. Thank you. I think also on that point, thank you very much for the work that's been done by Mr. Blanket. I think that keeping the relevant people accountable and enforcing, we've made a big jump in terms of the preparation for making occupational health and safety. Yes, there is still a challenge with the she-reps and going into, I don't know how many she-reps, and my colleagues have a major challenge of just getting the checklist submitted monthly. And we will have to escalate that now because eventually it is the HOD's responsibility. But again, that we all take the accountability, we all take the responsibility and make sure that we do submit in time. From this table, any highlights? Hello.
Hi, colleagues. This is the research group. The good part, you've got the research head here. Prof. Carno, stand up so that people must know you. So if you have any research challenge, he's the guilty one. You must come and knock at his office. With us, Prof, I think some of the things are already in place. For example, we've got research groups established, so it's just the
Business plan.
yes, yeah, you can say that. The other thing, I think what we need to start is a faculty seed fund. We have the research seed fund, but we need to start the faculty seed fund whereby it will boost the generated research groups. And then also, there must be a web page developed for these research groups because we need to know them. They need to be advertised out there. And then there must be some strategic planning for research day. We need something like that to always do these small things. And then innovation day, faculty research day, interfaculty research day, if we can actually have all these things so that research in the university can be known. And then also, we must also develop our labs to the international standard, you know, the kind of equipments that we actually buy in terms of this collaborations should be up to the standard of international. Thank you.
I'm not sure about your seed fund, faculty seed fund. What do you mean about that?
You know, when you start the research, you always need money. The only thing that we know is NRF, Tutuka.
No, there is faculty. You can apply for free. And there's even a budget. There was a call that groups must submit their budget. And based on the submissions, the allocations was done for the available funds. Remember, from any research output, the university gets a certain percentage, or research directorate gets something, the faculty gets something, and the individual gets something. So that part that the faculty gets something is the seed fund that you're talking about. What research is getting is what they're supposed to fund us to go to conferences. But they're tapping into our research, our faculty funds now, the income that we've generated from our publications. So the more we publish as a faculty, the more seed funding we have that we can either go to conferences with or stimulate new growth or capacity building. And that's the money that I've talked about that they took away, that we were fighting now for 9 months. It's money that we've generated and they took it away. So now we need to spend it. We're not keeping it aside anymore. This group.
Hi, colleagues. Our topic was adequate, qualified, and innovative faculties. So the first one was staff qualification, and we all said that sabbatical leave is applicable only to permanent staff. What about contract staff? And that not all the staff go on sabbatical, but the use CPD funding is good because it helps in workload reduction and new staff replacement. Then the second point was implementing staff mentoring, and we came about with different ideas of the faculty to have different mentoring programs, like implementing activity within the faculty, and also to choose staff to become mentor and mentees, and also to give support to other staff by creating a collaborative relationship between other members and support each program. Then the third point was to assist staff to achieve their personal development goals. So here we spoke about going to workshop that we had in new workshop development or new technologies, and also by having collaboration between ourselves as a faculty and to come about with projects to develop the department. Then now we also have the fourth point that was to establish a community practice of groups. It's about how to communicate within the faculty and also to encourage team building like what we're doing now, often and within faculty, within the admins, lecturers and research, to come with different groups and have different ideas, and they can meet monthly or weekly. And lastly was the staff member to attend CAD workshop. So it was said that the time for the workshop is too limited for a one-day program. And also, we realized that some workshop by CAD will be conducted by someone with better expertise. For instance, someone from accounting will come and teach from someone from engineering. It doesn't really make sense. Thank you from our side.
Thank you. The issue of contract staff versus permanent staff will always be a challenge if we have so many contract staff. And we have staff on a contract basis for so long. And I personally feel that DUT is very lenient in terms of the support they give to contract staff. If you think of a contract, what the purpose of a contract is just a limited period of time. But there's colleagues here that's made a career out of being appointed on contract. If there is anyone who needs support, please make sure that you communicate and we see what we can do. The issue of CAD, I think the other group also talked about it. The CAD, again, they've committed themselves to give us custom-made, faculty-focused, even program-focused training if we want. So let us utilize it and let us, from our side, request it. And then the other issue that the group at the back said, and I think I was thinking of it when you also reported, and that is the issue of skills development fund. Colleagues, there is skills development funds available. There's also dates. If you want it, you can always get it from Kathy. That is also incorporated in the calendar, the university calendar, where you submit a skills development application. And that is when it's personal development plan. So if you, and I've engaged, and the other thing that I didn't hear from the two groups is leadership development. Or even I was thinking of the other group that talked about leadership. We need to build leadership capacity. Dr. Sikakana is retiring at the end of the year. Dr. Mhlobo is retiring. We get our tutors also retiring. And we get our leaders now getting, and what is the leadership development? So please, from where these schools I identify certain staff members or the HODs identify, nominate someone, and we try to nominate and encourage them. However, these opportunities are limited. And I think there was one call where our faculty was the only faculty who nominated someone. We nominated 4 people and only one of the 4 was chosen, eventually by the service provider. So these opportunities are limited, but it should not limit your own personal development. So in your personal development plan, have those leadership. If you feel that I want to grow as a leader and build these skills, That's an area where I want to grow. Then you incorporate that in your personal development plan. And if the opportunity doesn't come, and again, it's not that we want to deprive anyone. These opportunities are limited. There's still the skills development. So I think you can apply for skills development. You can motivate why you feel that beneficial to VUT and to your own personal development and attend these courses. All right. Colleagues, we're chowing into our Friday afternoon, but I think the discussions, the feedback is very relevant. Kindly give us just a highlight. You don't need to, we're going to read what you're going to submit. So just the highlights that came out from the discussions, maybe that will not be incorporated in your submission.
From our table, we are discussing the innovative transformative curriculum. And we said that the advisory board meetings need to have a standard terms of reference. We said also for the teaching and learning committees that evaluate the quality that we need to attend workshops and improve on our quality SOPs that also speak to the quality within those issues that are discussed under teaching and learning committees. And INCA said that we must collaborate with engineering and technology to optimize curriculum of service subjects. We said it must be an interfaculty and interdepartmental collaboration to optimize the curriculum of service subjects. Coming to the fifth industrial revolution, we said we need to revise the curriculum in order to address that by revisiting our approach of blended learning and hybrid learning, how we improve our simulation laboratories, the integrity and ethics of AI use within our prospectus. Coming to the national and international benchmarking, we also said there's a need for exchange program between lecturers and the revisiting of our curriculum every 4 to 5 years.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Kathy, there was something, the website and interfaculty exchange, I think it's now the second time that it's popping up.
Our group was discussing the language and monetary faculty outputs. So the point that came up was that as a faculty, we need to have maybe one or 2 years in staff development in terms of article writing and supervision. Even though we will have to outsource them, we can do it internally, and that will help in terms of that will help in articles, and also with the student that will be supervising. And another thing that we are not visible socially in terms of other universities that even advertising in front of LinkedIn that they are welcoming postgraduate students to come and get this university. So we need to do that to be more visible as well. And also another thing that was discussed in the table that due to the accept external supervisors to supervise our students here, but due to doesn't allow the staff to supervise the students at our university. So
Who said so?
So they don't allow our staff to supervise outside. So it has to be the channel that's applied. Also, our students are supervised by other universities. And also, we need to welcome the research award because it's an incentive that will put the research in the bank and also welcome other people that want to research. We had that before, and also we can also think of other incentives that can be there for the established researchers at the university as well as the newcomers as well. And
So what we hear from you is motivation. You need some motivation. It's the second time that I'm hearing the need for a faculty research day. We don't need, it can be something informal like today, where we have presentations so that we can understand what each other is doing. And even our students, maybe if we can invite our final year students also so that they can understand what is postgraduate studies. So colleagues have on a different level also shared that need that we start to. And then I really like the suggestion of research. If we can have workshops, brainstorm, again, it doesn't need to cost money. It doesn't need to be someone outside. We can just, as a collective, workshop and brainstorm something like supervision. We can share what was our good experiences. Sometimes you learn more from your supervisor how to not be a supervisor. Then you can learn from an expert how to be a supervisor. So I think that one was smiling. I wonder who was his. So I think that's very important. And something I can be criticized for, but I strongly value writing retreats. Where we go away from campus, we can sit here and all we do for the whole day is writing articles. We can even be groups, writing. This month we write an introduction. We have a short presentation of what an introduction should be. And then we all write an introduction. Next month, we write methodology. It will differ, whether you quantitative, qualitative, whether you experimental work, or it will differ. But we will learn from each other. My biggest challenge in research was when I was part of a group that wrote a qualitative research paper. It didn't make sense. That you can sit around the table, talk nonsense, even if you Google, you'll see on my profile, there's wine and wine. Right? So we drank wine while we whined, complained. And from that, we identified things. It was a group of women, and I was actually ashamed. I think that's a research paper. But it's a paper that's published more than 10 years, and it's still recycled. So, and it's how we had a peer mentoring group of women supporting each other, building the research capacity at beauty. That's what the theme of the paper was. It's a qualitative paper. It just challenged my boundaries. Why? Because I was taken out of my comfort zone into a group with other expertise than myself, and we generated the paper. So, yes. There's also colleagues, and I've asked the HUDs that we should also include that in our performance contracts. Remember, depending on your post level, you are expected to generate an output unit. Professor Makalo, what is the? Can you just quickly repeat?
Yes, it's an expectation to generate an output to senior lecturer is about 0.5. If you're an associate professor, it's 1. If you're a full professor, 1.5. If you're a lecturer, it's about 0.3.
Yeah, 0.3. So, even if you are in a lecturer's position, whether you're a registered student or not, it's expected from you to publish 0.3 research output, which means you need to be a co-author of a publication that doesn't have more than 3 authors. And as Juan said, the higher, so who of the associate professors are publishing? 1.5, 1.
Yes.
Associate professors, 1 full unit. So, again, how do we achieve those goals? Maybe it's time for us to collectively get out of our comfort zone, sit, write, and we commit ourselves to at least one paper a semester, apart from all the others that you're publishing. Just an idea. All right.
Good afternoon, colleagues. The topic of our group is quality intelligence, training and support. So the first point is the upgrading of the labs. We saw that our labs are not equipped to accommodate students with disabilities, and we also included the point whereby specifically with the computer labs during the tests, when we have our load shedding, we have all those partners. So we propose that we give our right-minded students, in the engineering, to do a project where they can come up with solutions to assist with the lagging and all of that. And then we also highlighted the point of liaising with CAD. So we saw that there's a need for effective training, mandatory effective training like for students specifically, because we still have issues where students are struggling to log in Blackboard when they're supposed to write a test. So we think that we might still have students who are not familiar with the computer, and hence the impedance of accessing information in Blackboard and so forth. And okay, it was a lot of just the last slide. We heard that we need to incorporate artificial intelligence. The AI tools are not the boogeyman, as most of us are portrayed. So we felt that there's a need for us academics to learn and come up with ways on how to assist students to make use of the AI tools. AI tools are there to assist our students. So we have to come up with ways, not the normal traditional teaching ways, such that students will just go to AI tool, get a question, and submit. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I think colleagues to all of the groups, remember you was asked to compile an activity list that speaks to the drivers. In your feedback, I asked now you to share with us some of the discussions, but please in your submission make sure that you address it in the form of activities that we can measure. Okay. So yes, we need to do it, but how are we going to do it? And how are we going to measure?
Ours was policy students.
Let's look it out.
And I'm a teacher. Policy student-centric infrastructure and services. And we put it into different categories: physical infrastructure, student services, and sustainability initiatives. And we talked about infrastructure such as now our labs, that all new renovations, for example, need to have accessibility for disabled students. We need to have virtual labs. Our labs need to be OHS compliant, and we can measure those. And we also need to monitor things like lecturer feedback to students to increase our success rates and to be student-centric. Also, have students participating in value-adding activities such as sports events that we do as a faculty together with our students to improve that relationship. We also talked about getting student research projects that help to solve our current problems, challenges within the university, and that would also increase their CV, they would be able to contribute to their CVs as well. And that students need to be visited for all, at least one each student once every semester. So overall, that's what our discussion is centered around.
Thank you. Interesting at the Global Education Summit, that also showed statistics that in the US there is a tendency to look at extracurricular activities in terms of the employability of a student. So, and I think in our school system there might be some opportunities for extracurricular activities. Some of the traditional universities have these debate groups and some cultural groups. It's in a team effort that you learn how to work with teams. And do we create that opportunity of extracurricular growth to our students? If not, the university doesn't provide, it should we as a faculty not start to do that? I like your suggestion of the sport activities. There's also other cultural activities. Again, sorry to take us back to Shanghai, but they had this wonderful show to us in the closing ceremony, where their own students had a cultural dance that they gave us. And to the colleagues who's organizing the conference, I've sent you a drum cafe contact details, which I thought, it can bring the African culture as well. But the question is, where's our students? We have got this wonderful choir. The choir is active in graduation and in the inauguration of the chancellor. Inauguration is corrupted that word. And otherwise, they take part and it's a few students. But what happens to our students? So inclusiveness, we can think about that.
This is the softest voice is about to. So our challenge was collaborative knowledge creation and exchange of the community, industry, and government for mutual benefits. And I made a note for Team 15 where they spoke about bringing people to BT and offering them whatever skills we have. And it doesn't have to have a monetary value to it, but we have a wealth of knowledge in this room that we don't share with our community. So I know we had a discussion with Professor Makalo as well about the concept of community engagement versus community outreach. Are we engaging with the community? Are we discussing things? Are we giving advice? Do we make people aware of the services that are out there? So the theme to this engagement on a research level, there's lots of stuff on water security and water quality. Are people aware of the issues we're facing? Are they aware of what the solutions are? How do we make that a talking point? And how do we get involved? But also bringing the community in, not just a top-down situation. There was a waste to product research project idea. We are surrounded by industrial waste. Most of it can be turned into something. Are we engaging on that? Municipal waste, refuse, garden waste, there's so much. Travel had an idea about chemicals that have expired. And is there a way of regenerating them, or using them for alternative purposes, testing their actual shelf life, so lots to think about there. And then the small, medium enterprise concepts. And this is something I've raised before, and I think it's like a repeating theme to say BUT hosts an information day where people start small businesses can come to BUT, whatever it is that their business is, to say, I need help with shelf life tests, I need to do literacy, or I need to do green peeling, or I need to look at if there's impurities, how do I do that, who can help me, how much will it cost, how do I make this product marketable and available, what tests need to be done. Most small enterprises or people start small businesses, they don't know this. And we have an amazing opportunity again to organization and the equipment we have and the knowledge to say, pay a cost fee, we use it for research, time community benefits. We have this in institutions. So to have a day where people with small businesses can come and they can support people. And that's, so that's
Prof. Muthuzi, you heard? You will organize the SMME informed information that.
So ours was quality resource collaboration networks through locally and international institutions. Quality resource. First point was imagine we have collaboration international challenges. We feel like it should be good if we can identify multiple international institutions that can collaborate with, whether it's research or anything that can collaborate with. The second point is once we've identified those multiple institutions, we should have some form of like a mandate to say every department has two minimum staff members that are attending each and every semester or year for those conferences that are held international. Going to the third point, we said that research collaboration, we need to collaborate with our national universities. This could be through using their equipment or even as a BUT, we have a lot of equipment. They can use our equipment to do research that can also generate income. The fourth one is to re-establish BUT symposium, maybe, or a research-based seminar where we are collaborating with departments such as chemistry, physics, or biotechnology. The fifth one is regular invitation from specialists or professors that have knowledge about digital research. This could be through AI, anything that is related to digital. The sixth point that we discussed was research programs that can allow international collaborations. Maybe this could be if we have postgraduate students that are doing masters. In the first year, they can be VT, in the other year, in the other international students. That way, we can collaborate with our international institutions. The seventh point is research programs that also allow staff members that can maybe go on a sabbatical leave where they are in an international institution, they are doing their masters or PhDs. And the eighth one, this is under community. We figured that maybe we could have an active engagement with our communities or industries where we can be doing research that can solve our day-to-day or real-life problems. They mentioned something like water purifications or safety management or even mental health, as long as we're doing research that can actively engage with our community. Our last point was we have alumni who are in the web industry or the web space. We could engage with them every now and then so that they can come back, talk to our students, give guidance to our current students. So that's what we discussed.
Thank you. Fantastic. So, in terms of internationalization, it can be a very broad concept, right? I think all staff members do attend and have the opportunity, at least if you have a paper to present, you have the opportunity to be funded to attend. So all of us, we don't really have an excuse if we haven't attended international. What our faculty focus should be in terms of internationalization is something that we really need to engage with a little bit more. Hopefully, Prof. Sharma from Chandigarh University, who's the Director of Internationalization, is going to visit us in the first week of August, hopefully. And the plan is that he also engage with the faculty or the university at large. I think their strategy is to shoot wide, but they have the budget, it's a private university. Our strategy is let us have a focused approach with the most benefits. And that's why we link on to Chandigarh, because they would invite all these other universities. And then just by going there, we have an opportunity to network. But the risk is that we become unfocused and that we're all over the space. So that's just something that we need to know. What do we want? What is the benefit that we needs, and we can be the most effective.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have infrastructure tools and services that are really driving. So seeing as infrastructure sort of underlie everything, you can hear a lot of our wind has been taken out of ourselves over the recent months. So one of the suggestions or one of the activities we had was to establish a flagship, just one, and flagship computer lab and a flagship natural science or applied science lab to act as a template or best practice for the revamp or the establishment of other multi-purpose laboratories, state-of-the-art instrumentation, using a phased-in approach, obviously to funding and the expensive nature of these activities. And then with these labs, like with the CAM or the Central Analytical Services Labs, the research labs that were mentioned by other groups, to use those to establish business units like MBO that would do a needs analysis, identify for our area to establish new business units that would make use of these laboratories to generate third stream income. Because a lot of our suggestions here don't sound like infrastructure solutions, but they feed the money and things coming from those activities feed into the infrastructure and the tools and services. We had an activity, we don't know how realistically it is, I don't remember reading it in the procurement policy, but an option we said is to investigate the possibility of decentralizing SEM buyers, probably not going to happen, or speak to SEM so that we have a 1 or 2 permanent buyers and have those buyers become more familiar with the faculty's needs and the kinds of things the faculty needs instead of just randomly allocating our stuff to different buyers and then it's always a mess. We talked about finalizing SOPs for effective lab management and maintenance to reduce expenditure and having clear SOPs in place regarding one of the points was apply for external funding. But we need clear SOPs in place on how to access that external funding because there seems to be a lot of barriers in place. Once the university, you apply for it, you get the funding, and then you can't access your own funding because there are a lot of barriers in place and there's not clear standard operating procedures to access the funding. In terms of tools of the trade, we talked about doing a thorough needs analysis to accurately determine what is needed to reduce wasteful expenditure, consider the refurbishment of existing equipment rather than buying new equipment, make use of bulk purchasing and bulk discounts, and then prioritize items that are necessary for daily activities, especially with research. Then we talked about reach out to local businesses, alumni, tech companies for donational partnerships because many companies actually have programs where they give away written off equipment that is still possibly very usable by us. Doing an investigation to see if there's not open source alternatives to expensive software that the faculty might be using that the faculty is paying for, not IT services that we're specifically paying for. Perhaps there's open source alternatives. A feasibility study to see if it's possible to reorganize or optimize our current spaces without major construction, perhaps focusing on improving lighting, ventilation, and ergonomic spaces to enhance the working environment. And then again, in terms of applying for research funding, we spoke about partnering with other universities to apply for larger grants, especially overseas grants like the Erasmus Plus thing. Usually you need like a consortium to access them. Because again, all this feeds back into our infrastructure and services.
Thank you. And just to answer you, in the org refinement, we tried to push for a decentralized SCM approach. It was not well received. However, they have looked at a hybrid, so that certain sourcing up until a certain level can still be done within the faculty. Yeah, we didn't get what we want, but at least there's plans for improvement. I think they took away a decentralized model. They put it into a centralized model without empowering the human resources. Hence, we have this problem. Now they're looking at still keeping that centralized, but at least have some tasks given back to the faculty. And then the other issue in terms of infrastructure, we have motivated, and it was approved by DVC Teaching and Learning, that we have higher specs for our computer equipment purchase from the faculty. So, because we had a challenge with standards, some of us can do the normal specs, but some other specialities are, I think we specialize, we specify for natural sciences and IT, but if the maths people also need high specs, we just make sure that we motivate for that. Otherwise, it might not be approved for our IT. Last but not least, colleagues.
Good afternoon, colleagues. We are table number 9, and we're mandated with the strategic driver, which is described as fit for purpose stuff in mission-aligned, efficient structure. And our interpretation of that is a kind of environment that a staff should find themselves in order to make a valuable contribution to the mission of so we came up with several ideas here, and most of them are ideas that are pretty much well known. So ours is to emphasize more the need of such structures. So according to what we have here, is that a fit for purpose staff is a kind of a staff member, first of all, who is equipped with relevant technology within their area of work. What do we mean by that? For example, we spoke about doing lecture videos and putting them on YouTube and all of that. That's a very wonderful idea. But the question would be, is the staff member, for example, well equipped with such a relevant technological device to produce such content? That's number one. And then also, maybe I should have started with this one, because I think it's very also important, which is, if I am a staff member, I should feel part of the department, meaning that, just to cut it short, permanent provisions, right? We understand temporary staff members, the need for them, and permanent and all that. That is well contextualized. But the ratio of temporary and permanent staff positions should be very intentionally calibrated, because now the mission of the school is a long-term mission. But I can't be a staff member who's also incorporated within the mission and I have to contribute, but I'm worried as to in the next 3 months where will my future be, or in the next 6 months. So I have other problems clouding my head, and I can't naturally perform the way, or my mindset is not where it's supposed to be. Once I am permanent, for example, it shouldn't just be that case. I should be provided with opportunities that are relevant to me. And if I'm an academic staff, opportunities like NGAP, NGAP opportunity should be provided to such a staff member. And also entrepreneurial opportunities for staff. If I'm an academic, my immediate entrepreneurial opportunity will be tutorship. So if I'm permanent, I should be supported to also practice my entrepreneurial skills, just in the same way that I'm supposed to produce techno entrepreneurial students. So I should be in the same context.
Yeah.
And then also we saw a need for mentorship, structured mentorship that is also faculty-led. As a new staff member, I shouldn't be confused as to where the HR department is or where the relevant office is for my immediate program. There should be someone holding my hand for such for a specified period of time who's going to mentor me and who's going to orientate me within my area of work. We also spoke about important things about, for example, the importance of being part of a professional body for the purposes of networking and all that. But we want to stress out that we also need support from the school because some of these opportunities are money-related. That should be helpful with registration, and there has to be a free flow of information to say there's single emails that you can register with. The SAMS conferences that we need to also get that kind of support, just as much as these other things are expected from us. Also, Fit for Purpose staff is the one who has administrative support. It can be the case that I have like a bunch of scripts, let's say it's 300 scripts as a lecture, and I have to mark that. That would be my immediate problem. But why can't we have a system where those 300 scripts can be given to our senior students to mark their memorandum, their our products, or they are about to be our products? They should be able to just mark. But we don't have that kind of a system that after there's an assessment, now I'm marking and you see because now the problem is that we have to change. It should be our students' problem to come up with new innovative ways. Maybe they can come up with a device that can scan and look at a PDF document and just marks on its own.
Ooh, wow! Why not you? Why not you?
Because I think it would also be very discipline specific. We should just be framed, and I'm very serious, and I think that's the issue about secondary and tertiary contracts. These staff members ended up having these additional contracts and not doing their main job. And also I don't have time to mark, but I have time to have the secondary contract to be a tutor. So also in terms of looking at the university side of the story, we also need to be very careful about that, not to create. But in principle, we know that the other universities, traditional universities, actually do have these student assistants that helps you mark. In the end, it's the lecturer's signature that goes into the script. You take responsibility, but you have a dedicated task. Let's look at that, specifically those groups with those modules with very big groups. That is very important. HODs, there's only, we've budgeted only for, I think if I'm correct, Dr. Sikakana, it was only budgeted for health sciences for professional body registration, because that was the only department up until now that was compulsory. And it came in from the engineering exam that all lecturing staff to engineering students need to be professionally affiliated. So if you're not an engineer that can register with Excel, at least you need to be registered within your discipline. And I think the issue with ICT, the issue with chemistry, the issue with maths, so basically the whole faculty is now forced to affiliate. And please, HODs, please make sure that we incorporate that in our budget because going into 2025, we won't have any excuse to do that. And that it needs to be defendable. When it comes to additional affiliation, so sometimes you have a professional body and then you have a society. And this society often offers these continuous professional development. Colleagues, please communicate within your departments that and where it needs to be, where it's beneficial. Let's see how we're going to budget for it. Our professional development is extremely important. You cannot be a maths lecturer if you're not on top of your math. You cannot be and I think the group there at the back said, a specialist within your module and within your discipline. We might have a broader qualification and then we come into a discipline. So please help us to help you in your personal development plan as well as in budgeting to be able for you to plan. Colleagues, I thank you. I see everybody's starting now. Really thank you. I think we heard each other once again. We were able to engage and come up, and I think once again you've heard the colleagues' feedback. So you might think of something else before next week Friday that you can submit and contribute. I thank you very much for being my colleagues, for being such an extremely special, talented group. I think we've experienced once again today that we are the winning faculty. And we might be the smallest faculty, but we can have the highest impact. Because colleagues is committed, because you are sitting here today, still effectively contributing this time of Friday. I love you and I greet you until we meet again. Let's go.